into the depths of Gaia Prime to go and find, well, it's just another MacGuffin, let's be honest here.
Uh-huh.
But hey, it's going to be the way that we can now, as we found out in the last episode, apparently recreate Gaia. I mean, Silence was saying that, you know, there's enough stuff out there. I mean, obviously still creating robots and everything that it could probably be like repaired, which is
cool.
interesting.
Yeah.
Especially because as like the clone of Elizabeth Sobek, one of the things Aloy could possibly do is just override the whole can't interact with humanity thing, which would be something.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
I don't know. I mean, it's interesting because a lot of other plots where you have like the computer that rules over humanity, it's like the goal is to destroy it.
Uh-huh.
And here we're rebuilding it.
Yeah.
Which is, I don't know.
Well, I feel like you can kind of go...
Even Omicron. You remember in Omicron?
Yeah. No, I mean, I feel like you can kind of go either way with that. You either rebuild it or destroy it, or you have to make it work in harmony with human beings, which is kind of what we're doing here. I
mean, it's already been working in harmony with human beings. It's just one of its subroutines has gone rogue, and we got to kind of deal with that first. Because, I mean, I guess the idea would be that if Gaia was still here, you know, the whole, like, anti-terraforming thing would be active, and, well, that's Hades in.
Yeah.
I mean, right now, it's like sitting in currently one of the Faro robots, and it can't really do too much of anything because of that.
So, Hades...
Still trying.
So, is Hades the thing that's, like, corrupting the animals?
I guess that does seem to be the case. Maybe it's also the loss of the Gaia Prime unit. That it's like normally, it's like normally Gaia would kind of make it so that the animals are just doing their job and not interfering with other people. But since that's been destroyed, it could also be the corruption from whatever the hell corrupted Hades in the first place. That's still kind of a weird thing. Mm-hmm. It received an unknown transmission that caused it to become self-aware and malicious.
And by the way, that's what she said 20 seconds ago. Just go and check it out. But no, that's all I've got to say.
No, I mean, I don't know. It's just like I wonder if they ever created like a sequel to this game. It's like, would Gaia be rebuilt? Would Gaia be like guiding humanity? Would it be able to turn back on Apollo? And I don't know, like, what's gonna happen with that? Because it's a very different type of plot than what you than like what they did in Omicron, even where we saw the big metal head at the end of the game.
It honestly does feel like, you know, for better or for worse, it feels like this was unusually detailed as a conception of an AI. Like, I don't think that's...
Yeah, they knew what was going on, which is why I think it's probably a good thing to bring Gaia back. I mean, certainly if it stops, like, the whole derangement of the animals, but I don't know.
Because, I mean, yeah, usually it's like, okay, it's a good AI that we need to encourage or a bad AI that we need to fix. But this is kind of one of those where we need to find a way to get the good stuff from it and, you know, kind of pare away the bad stuff from it. So just kind of...
I mean, even if they were able to just, like, totally... even if they were unable to get, like, a Poyo working again or anything like that, at least Gaia would probably have basic knowledge of the world that it could share, you know? Because that's like how Hades worked. I believe Silence said, basically, that it's like he was communing with Hades to kind of like learn a lot or maybe that's going to be coming up in this episode. I don't know. Maybe I'm spoiling stuff. Okay, anyway.
Yeah, but I mean, just as kind of like this detailed thing. Yeah, hi, Charles Ronson.
This is Charles Ronson.
6 hours after final deployment of Gaia Prime.
This morning I was Charles Ronson.
He continues to be Charles Ronson, even in death.
Yes. I was the entity that you once called Charles Ronson. My name is Charles Ronson.
Now you may know me as Hades. No, that's not. And yeah, from what I understand, I don't think they have like copying human consciousness onto like whatever the pre-apocalyptic world was. It wasn't that advanced.
Yeah, honestly, this bit is just how funny the name Charles Ronson is to me.
It's pretty good though. And especially it's like he is named for every line here.
I'm now switching to a recording of the
Like he,
No, we're not done.
the way that they established it kind of makes it seem like we should know who Charles Bronson is. Like, oh, Charles Bronson, he's a
Well,
big,
we do. He's one of the alpha guys that set up all the modules
Yeah.
of Gaia. But you know,
One of the big
aside
players.
from getting you know a rundown of like what the module was that he was working on, we didn't really hear too much else.
Charles Bronson, one of the big players.
Elizabeth, not content to just be the goodest, like the most important person in the entire world for creating Gaia, but also the goodest person for the entire the
Yes.
entire world by saving them with a noble self-sacrifice.
Uh-huh.
Feel bad for Rost because it's like, man, that's a hard comparison.
Yeah. Oh well.
It's interesting that the whole like.
I raised you as an outcast, and I tried to do the best for you every time. I taught you to be a
but
warrior.
were you literally the savior multiple times of humanity?
I don't think so. Did you work on Zero Dawn, or were you just some guy who showed up?
Just some guy who is just like, well, I'm bored of living on the outskirts of society. I guess I'm gonna raise this child.
I'm okay with this.
By the way, this whole this cutscene lacks a lot of urgency because everybody's kind of just standing around.
Well, I mean, what are they supposed to do? It's the apocalypse.
I know, but
The biosphere has been destroyed.
just idly standing around with their hands at their sides, just just okay. You gotta sacrifice yourself.
Everything for the hope of life on this planet.
And she still gets a cool tombstone.
Yeah, she gave everything to the.
So yeah, I don't know. I kind of feel like Elizabeth Silvex. It's like the journey of discovery was that, oh, you're the daughter of the most important, goodest person in the entire world. All right, got it.
It's kind of a fantasy where it's like, okay,
Also, still not done here yet. It's the second time I tried to leave that room before it was over.
she's gone, really gone, and Charles Bronson is dead too, and that's
I
maybe
know.
even more painful.
And her achievements
This was the last transmission of Elizabeth Sobek, and the first transmission of Charles Ronson. All hail Charles Ronson.
Yeah.
Took responsibility.
Well, her people bickered. She was the one who took responsibility.
No, it's like, okay.
That's not what I said.
Maybe I should listen to a few more, like the journals, because as of right now, it's like, all compassion run.
Yeah.
Stop calculating and let yourself feel.
Look, would it really have been better if we
She
chose
sacrificed
aggression?
herself for
We
her
tried to
friends,
punch
for the future,
silence
for
her
life
mouth.
on Earth. Doesn't that stir anything in you? The generosity of it.
Yeah, your mother was
mean,
awesome,
it's cool.
kid. Whatever.
It's cool and everything, but we do kind of have to stop. Well, I mean, I suppose Hades does not have access to the whole
Remember,
anti-terraforming
she
thing, but it's
knew
still going
it
to try
wasn't
and do
enough
it.
for Gaia to think. She taught
You need to
Gaia
praise
that
my-
Surely there's some sort of plan it has right now, so we're kind of on the clock. Let's get on with it already.
I like that it was just like, you have to be nicer to my mom.
Sentimentality, life would
It's
end.
true, though.
You
Come
and
on,
I
Silence.
would never have existed.
Even though I do like you and I kind of agree with you for the most part. Anyway,
for your loss.
it was 200 years ago, though.
Yeah.
Maybe she's at home, I guess.
Nothing. It's time to go on.
I mean, that was like 200 years ago.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Well, anyway, oh, and now I am out of here, but this wasn't even the right place to go in the first place. What a stupid amount of things. Well, I'll still get the lore regardless. Yeah, I was about to say though, would have liked to see like a little bit more rounded of a character rather than just the savior of humanity,
Yeah.
martyr.
Yeah, no, like somebody who's like really conflicted that, kind of what I like is when historical
Or like just
figures
the sheer
are-
stress that would be put on you trying to save all of humanity.
Exactly. It would be nice to see her, and maybe this is just somewhere in the lore, but somebody who's like really,
It probably is in the lore.
Like-
I mean, we did just get a whole bunch of logs
Yeah,
here
yeah.
and everything.
but like somebody.
That's the whole thing where it's just like, this is my fault.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. But like, I'd like to see somebody who's like kind of deeply conflicted about the ethical questions of being, the savior of humanity, like blah blah blah, free will, even just a little bit like of a nod to that, just to
The Terminator.
just so you're not just having this, this pure perfect hero.
the Sarah Connor
Ye-
character.
Yeah, but Sarah Connor was pretty cool. Still,
There's another
Yeah, Sarah Connor was cool.
yeah.
I mean, and the idea that it's just like, oh, you're going to give birth to the savior of mankind is just wacky.
Yeah, and she,
Also, there's a killer robot coming after you. That's a good premise for a movie.
Yeah.
I know. It's like this is something that is news to everybody.
Yeah, I think,
Anyway.
in my opinion, The Terminator is an all-time classic.
I know. What a hot take.
Oh, and
All right.
kind of like,
No, we still got a MacGuffin to get
and
here.
kind of
so.
apt because, as you know, James Cameron found his ancient ancestors, the bones of his ancient ancestors at the bottom of the Marianas Trench.
Speaking of that,
Yeah. He found the first human to ever live, and they were at the bottom of the ocean. Because humans
I have
used to
no
live
idea.
in
Is this like a reference to Steve Zissou or something?
No, I have.
Is that a Cameron movie?
No, that was I think the Wes Anderson guy.
Oh, yeah. I guess that makes a lot
The
more
life
sense
of-
given the
yeah.
fancifulness of it.
No, but James
I don't
Cameron.
know why I thought that.
James Cameron.
Wait, he did like some sort of deep sea movie.
Yeah, no,
right?
James Cameron literally. First of all, he directed Titanic, and he also got really into deep sea diving using like those pods. Basically, he went down to the Marianas Trench. He's one of the few people who's ever been into the bottom of the ocean.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought he made a movie about. I don't
He
know.
probably made a movie about it.
Yeah, it's a bunch of dead people. You see
Mm-hmm.
this a lot.
Yeah.
When I opened the hatch, the air rushed in from this side.
You remember the entire biosphere was destroyed, right?
The alphas were in there.
Well, anyway, let's get. I'll admit right now, this is some pretty dumb lore.
What the hell is Omega clearance? Oh no. Alpha person.
Oh no, it's Ted Faro.
Sorry to alarm you, but
Uh-oh.
I need you to listen, okay?
Oh, indeed.
What I'm about to say.
My name is actually Charles Bronson.
This isn't easy.
No, Charles Ronson's in the room right now.
I know,
Unless
I know.
he's also
Well,
Ted Faro.
that's why it's such a twist.
See what this is about is
Look, I'm Charles Bronson. I've been Charles Bronson all along, and Charles Bronson is me.
what I'm trying to say is I can't stop thinking about the ones who come after us. Those innocents. Those blameless men and women. We're gonna give them knowledge? Like it's a gift?
Ted, we've talked about this before. Apollo has 3,000 plus fail-safe conditions.
Pollo has
It's
3,000
a
plus.
disease. They're the
chickens.
cure, and we're gonna give them the disease. Our disease? No, we can't.
Ted Faro is the dumbest motherfucker in the entire universe.
To sacrifice.
It doesn't need to be like this.
It already is, Samina.
This is one of those, like, really...
I've purged
Yeah, I did it
Yeah.
3 minutes ago. That's the Watchmen thing.
Yep.
Yeah, Ozymandias, yeah.
Yeah, so basically Apollo has been deleted by Ted Faro. Not only was he content to cause the apocalypse, he was intent to also kill billions of people afterwards.
Oh, yeah.
What a stupid. I mean, yeah, I know. We did just have that one scene before about him being like, hey, we got to put in a failsafe. And it's like, this is why. And then he kills everybody. He really was the main villain of the game. Him and Bast was really the main villain of the game the entire time. It's so ridiculous.
He's on...
Ted, just like losing germ theory alone, he's gonna kill so many people.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I don't know. I mean, I guess we did rebuild the entire biosphere. Maybe straight up, like, viruses don't exist anymore.
Honestly, he's...
Well, you'd still have bacterial infections.
Bast is still about 20% worse.
Oh yeah, definitely. I was happy to see them both lit up and then exploded.
Innocent future. Blameless men.
But it's just like, yeah, it's like, what are you, an
He never
idiot?
saw the flaw in the summary.
Just-
Everything these people
Oh, if people don't know about this, surely they won't make the exact same mistakes we did.
Yeah, just kind of... I mean, this is kind of where, okay... you can kind of see that
alphas themselves.
it's not that dumb, because I feel
The
like...
fact that it could happen, though, even, and I know it's like, yes, we did have the scene where he said he's going to put in the fail safe and everything, apparently to do this.
World they made.
But like, it's just,
We're living in.
I don't know. Okay, whatever. I know that we're not going to have the post-apocalyptic nomadic society if we don't have this sort of thing happening. But come on.
I feel like they made him kind of too... They overloaded this villain,
Cartoonishly evil.
so to speak. They made him like this guy who destroys all the knowledge and then also kills the people. I feel like both of those things makes it harder to evaluate him as a character and makes it, I don't know, kind of less compelling.
We never really got too much of a sense of him as a character. Like
Yeah.
he was a businessman who was creating war machines, and those war machines caused the apocalypse, and then he caused the apocalypse again, but this time by choice.
Like, you know, I don't think what he's doing is so far afield of like billionaire ideologues who want to, you know, do these kinds of ambitious projects. But I feel like in a weird way they like they didn't.
It should have like required. Ah, damn it!
They could have made him
so bad at this.
I feel like you got to establish like who this.
Like it just feels like, I don't know. You put like 3 billion stuff and they could all be deleted like that. I mean, I guess sure you're working in some very stressful conditions, but come on. And I guess, I don't know, like all other knowledge has been, because you would think that after the apocalypse and everything that people would still be able to like get together. But I guess like the biosphere being destroyed and then recreated, and 200 years later no books survived, very few technology survived. I don't know. I still think that really the world of Horizon should be closer to sort of a combination of pre and post-industrial revolution. Because, you know, basics of engineering might have been lost, but you could still probably get that just from studying. Hey, Silence.
Well, I feel like
You can still probably get that just from studying the big machines that exist there. Yeah, you're not going to get that by dissecting a rabbit, but dissecting a giant mechanical horse.
I do feel like you're evaluating this because you don't like that they destroyed all the knowledge, which
Yeah.
but
I said in the last episode that I don't like that.
I mean I would agree I don't like that, but I think they're trying to make him a villain, like an ultimate kind of villain. Like, here's what the worst thing a human can do is, and then to contrast it with like Elizabeth Sobek. My problem with it isn't so much that that they had this villainous thing, is because they kind of had too much. Like, this is a fresh start, right? He wants to have a fresh start for humanity. But it's just like, well, they're still going to have technology. It's like, you know what I mean? It's like, it's kind of this weird, like...
I just think they should even have more technology than they do right now, even if they did lose even if they did lose Wikipedia.
Well, I actually would kind of disagree with that in terms of, like you think, like, rederiving all of history from...
I don't think it would be 2000 BC. I think it would be like 1600 AD.
I suppose, but like you think like maybe not pretty like we got fire and stuff, but like we getting to the industrial age.
I think we'd have more than this even with the loss of that. I mean, it's like, okay, so there's the explanation as to why everybody's still in the nomadic society, but like, I don't know. I think we should still have more. Maybe it is because I don't like the
Wake the machines.
I always feel like, I don't know. I've also talked about this in a lot of things before, where it's just like I always feel like there aren't enough engineers in fiction.
Or, well,
like there's people should be able to figure out the basics of this, regardless of if magic exists or if like Wikipedia was lost.
Well, part of it is just that, like, okay, it's not just the knowledge. It's like there's a lot of work that goes into building an industrial society up from the ground up. Like, you think about, like, how much time did people spend?
That's why I was thinking that it would be, like, pre and post. Like, you wouldn't have the trade routes and everything, but I think people would be able to figure out basic engineering just from dissecting a big mechanical.
You'd think, but, I mean, like, 50 years after the...
Look at Silence right now.
The 50 years after the Roman Empire collapsed, like, people didn't know so much, like, how those, like, certain parts of the engineering were, like, built. Like, they didn't understand, like, how these people could have created these great things. It's like the knowledge
It's kind of hard to say exactly how long it has been since...
Well, it's been about 200 years.
Well, since everybody's been let out of the cloning facilities.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Like, there's been multiple kings in Meridia, for example. And, wars, and they've been able to build that entire area. I don't know.
I don't know. Honestly, for me, it's just, I feel like they didn't establish either Elizabeth or Ted Faro.
Yeah, that's really what it comes down to.
For me, it's like, if you're going to have this great, like, dichotomy between hero and villain, like, between, I guess, kind of, like, the Lifebringer, Gaia, and the, satanic like Doombringer who
The destroyer, Ted Faro.
yeah, and it's like I feel like it would be better if you didn't have the AI do that.
If it wasn't one person.
Yeah, if it wasn't one person, or if those were complex people. Like it's like no, one of them is clearly the hero, one of them is clearly the villain, instead of like some really complex ecology of okay, well Ted Faro has his good reasons for doing this stuff. He's got a well-developed ideology, which is flawed in a lot of ways, and ultimately we may judge it as evil. But then so is Elizabeth Sobek. She just wants to create. She just wants to save things at any cost, even if it causes ethical dilemmas about the biosphere or something. And it feels like,
Well, in the same way that Elizabeth is like the goodest person ever. I mean, I think that like the ethics they tried there. Ted had his reasons, but it's like it's still kind of stupid, and it's still kind of stupid that he was allowed to do that.
Actually, ironically, Hades did this I think a lot better. Like as a game, like all the characters. In the sense, even though it's all flavor text, like there's very little like narrative.
Oh yeah. It's like you understand the motivation of the title character versus the player character when it comes down to it.
Yeah, and like all the characters, all the different gods have like these different flaws. Like for example, Hermes clearly has ADHD.
Oh, they all attack you.
Yeah.
Don't forget about that when you got like the two things that you can choose.
They all have like these vindictive part of their personalities. Yeah, exactly. And like Zeus is clearly like haughty. Poseidon is clearly like he's gregarious, but he's also like he's vengeful. I mean, and that actually tracks with Greek mythology, that kind of thing. Like, oh yeah, Zeus is prideful, but for the same reason, he's also kind of wrathful. And
then you also see, like, when you actually beat Hades and the game, and the end of the game, it's just like you see exactly why Hades was doing what he was doing.
Yeah, exactly. All the characters have good reasons. Persephone has good reasons, like Demeter, like they all have.
I mean, it's not like they completely failed in this. Certainly they tried to. Maybe again, this is one of those things where it's like you read more lore. I don't know.
Yeah, that's possible, and I don't want to like judge it, but it's like it does feel like Ted Faro and Elizabeth Sobek are underdeveloped,
especially coming back to these scenes coming back to back.
And really, you could
it's
say
like
the
that's
same
very
thing for Aloy and Silence, because Silence is basically just explaining everything to you. He's got a personality. They both have personalities. It's just that a lot of it is just he's her guide kind of thing.
I just agree with Silence a lot more.
Yeah.
And it's like I know he's very questionable moralistically, but at the same time it's like I don't know. Once again, I'm on team knowledge here.
Summoned me to receive my reward. The next moment, I heard it broadcast.
So what can I say? But yeah, that's this is an interesting episode, I think.
Yeah.
So when did I come into this?
I still kind of disagree with how they did some of the stuff, but yeah,
it's interesting.
You kind of get like everything outlined here.
It's the kind of thing where the fact that we're upset by it, unlike Persona, like just very unlike Persona,
really,
is like we're kind of upset because we're kind of grappling with it as a literary kind of text, and we're like, okay, here's what I liked about how they did this.
I'll say this for Horizon, my gaze does not go towards the writer's room.
Yeah. This is kind of
maybe a little bit, just a little.
Like maybe you disagree with how they did this stuff, but you're like, okay, they did something interesting. Sure. They gave us an image, and we're being asked to respond to it, and.
Yeah, and it's like it doesn't feel like it's like once again, Ted Faro still had his reasons, and I get it. It's just I do think it's a little ridiculous how it happened, but that's due to my own biases. There you go.
Yeah. It's an ideological call.
There you go.
And unlike Persona, very unlike Persona actually.
Yeah, very unlike Persona, where it's just stupid the entire way.
Like you feel like they're just wasting your time. No, this feels like
literally and figuratively.
Yeah, like they're giving
even
us
when they're trying
like,
not to waste my time.
It's weird. Anyway,
all compassion.
We had to have this episode because we had to break out of the Persona trap where we just.
I know. I knew this was going to be a good palate cleanser. It's just like
Basically the same.
for the most part at least.
Yeah,
whatever. Once again, team knowledge.
I've done all I can. From here on out, the rest.
All right, so basically, there's the entire shtick here. Hades is just out there to try and reactivate all the old war
Then I
robots
just
and
need
turn
to
back
get
on the
close
whole
enough
like
to
a
Hades'
big
skull to
suck
stab it in.
mechanic.
Exactly.
Oh, no problem.
Silence, kind of a
Silence.
piece of shit, but at least he's trying.
Where will you go?
Elsewhere.
Can you also like what's the point of having the big stitches of like the cyber
The world ends.
pipes? I just don't understand.
Honestly,
Like, what does that do?
It
for
just
you?
looks really cool.
It does look really cool, but it just is so
Was yours all along.
it's just weird. Maybe they're like really advanced tattoos, which is actually even cooler.
Yeah. I mean, honestly,
I like
I
Silence.
do like because Silence really does capture the aesthetic because he's wearing this kind of, I don't know, traditional garb. It sort of feels like it feels like he's from some kind of weird tribal culture that maybe
Yeah.
we have never seen before in human history or something.
Actually, that is the DLC.
And okay. And then he's got these, just these ridiculous cyberpunk stuff on top of it. So just
Oh yeah, I guess I don't know if they're supposed to do something, but if they're just like the neon tattoos, I'm down.
yeah.
Also, fuck yeah, Lance upgrade.
This is like
Finally,
this is the only thing
Silence
that
Lance.
matters to you. Like you don't care about
That is the
anything.
major thing to me. Like, look, I immediately went into this to see exactly what it was.
That's funny.
Oh, yeah, it gives you have electric element. I know, it's so telling as to how I'm playing this game.
Yeah.
But it's like, oh, cool, new lands. What do we got?
The best way of getting to him is through Aaron.
Everybody should have seen that coming, of course.
Of course.
Like I'm gonna be honest, like you don't grab onto that.
You actually talked about this a lot in previous episodes. I think like where you're like, oh yeah, people told me that there's this upgrade to the land.
Yeah, and then I get the lance upgrade, and I'm like, oh fuck yeah, lance upgrade. It looks cool too, and everything. It's got like this whole spider. Oh right. Well,
Gonna risk their lives.
Well,
I don't mind putting
remember the Nora side quest that we were forced to do before?
Sorry.
well,
You know.
now we've got a side quest in Meridia.
Don't
That
worry.
we-
Yeah, now we
This
got a
is just
side
an average
quest.
day for me.
Aaron.
You know, take down some machines.
Is it also like an extremely low level side
It's a
quest?
busy morning for you.
Yep.
Okay.
Started.
Yeah. Well, at least I also have the cool new lance though,
Are
so
you sure you're all right?
guess that's gonna
Well, I'm
work out
sober,
against the
so,
cultists that we have to fight.
I like that you avoided like what happened to your sister because you're like, oh, I know where this is
Don't get
going.
used to it.
What? She died. I mean, we were told that the second that we entered.
Oh yeah,
Meridia.
yeah. No, and it's just like it's clearly it's
Tell me exactly. what
shuttling
happened
you
to us.
into this.
Oh yeah, but yes, it's like even at the time, yes, I did know. I mean, it's like I don't need to ask this.
Left in the middle of the night. with
I also totally avoided asking about his sister when we entered Meridia for the first time too, because I'm like, I don't care. Look, we're here to find out about Olin, not to find out about your sister.
she thought
Now we're forced to find out about her sister.
search parties
All right, well,
next day and the
let's do it.
shadow carjack
I got my focus. It's primed. It's warmed up and ready.
Yeah, and now you've got this this powerful lance.
They beat
Yeah,
her so
check it
bad
out.
you can't even show her face
It's
before
electric.
burial.
Yeah, I was also thinking of it's electric. The is that the electric slide?
Did this.
Yes. Yes, if I'm remembering correctly, yes. Oh man, let's just go already, man. Look, we are like literally at the end of the game. We know exactly what Hades' plan is. It's to reactivate the war robots of old. And it's like we just got the way to stop him, the magic MacGuffin lance.
With Ursa and
It's
Ellen
like,
Reed.
hurry up.
Come on, follow me.
Just give me audience with the king. No, not until you find my sister. It's like, she's dead. What more do we need to know? My sister, though. All right, Aaron. Let's do it.
Why would Ursa come?
So is that basically the rest of this episode?
That is, no, it's not just the rest of the episode. It's the next episode, too.
Oh my god. Okay. God.
Don't you remember how long the Nora one was?
Yeah, I do remember. It was like a multi. Of course, it's a multi-stage because the side quests
Yeah.
in this game. Okay. Yeah.
They all are. And it's just, because it's like, yeah, well, we all had a fun time, having some kind of interesting debates on like the morality and like the writing here and everything. So let's kind of like put that aside to go do murder mystery.
Yeah.
Our soldiers have been over it, but maybe that.
And then we can get back to the part where we prevent the apocalypse from happening again.
This feels...
Which, unlike Persona 5, that's not going to come out of nowhere.
This quest feels quaintly, like, old. Like, this feels like a quest from a game in, like, 2005.
Or, it feels like a lot of the things I did back in Ghost of Tsushima. But that's should be no surprise to anybody.
It's like, oh, well, let's go over here, and I'll let you
and look at the things on the ground,
please.
And then we go follow tracks.
Like, escort me as I go over here, and we can go to here, and then we can go here, and then...
It's not even escort, it's more like, follow me, and I will lead you to the place where you look at stuff, and then you look at stuff, and then you find tracks, and then you follow the tracks.
I mean, well, let's be honest, this feels like WoW. Like, really, like, just vanilla WoW.
It still has that. It still has big MMO quest energy here.
Yes, that...
Tell me I'm wrong.
No, I get huge MMO vibes from this game, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but just, it's...
The open world games, it's like you got to remember just like the effect that, like the popularity of World of Warcraft is nothing to be underestimated.
Yes. It truly is like...
And although certainly like quests of this style existed in MMOs for a very long time, I just feel like WoW was really that's what people think of.
Yeah.
In the same way that they use the exact same like rarity system and everything. Going from green as common, blue as uncommon, and purple as legendary.
Why would the shadow cards do that?
Well, not legendary. What is it? It's just rare in WoW.
I think that might just be...
No, I think, it's common, rare,
Well, let's follow these tracks.
unique.
A lot of them have very rare, legendary, that kind of thing.
Yeah, and then WoW does also have legendary level stuff too. But it's just that is just like the standard way to do levels of rarity in video games. I remember being very confused in Enter the Gungeon because green and blue are switched around, where blue is more common than green chests.
Oh, okay. But yeah, like...
And it's like that's just the sheer impact that game has had alone, just on a very basic mechanic in games: rarity of items, quality of items.
Yeah, and it's not like it's terrible or anything. I mean, this isn't really a critique. It just feels a little bit like, okay,
it's just interesting to think the impact, especially on something like as arbitrary as that. In the same way that like red barrels explode, it's just a commonly known and accepted thing.
By the way, this kind of...
And I think that's also that also does go to like the basics of how you set up a quest in games
This
too.
kind of reminds me of a path that I took in Telluride, Colorado. Like, I'm sure this is probably similar to a lot of like mountain paths, but specifically...
Oh, I'm sure they were very much inspired by that sort of...
just like...
Because, I know exactly what you're talking about. I've been to Colorado,
Yeah,
too.
like, right...
Look at that texture pop.
Yeah, especially like kind of the mining thing. Like, you kind of go down a mining cart through the mountains.
These guys aren't
Or, you go on a four-wheeler or something. Just
They're
that kind
from
of,
my
like,
tribe, the
cart path
Oseram.
thing.
And I mean, these guys are like
Is this how your people
wooden
usually
carts,
greet
but
each other?
Like,
All
kind
right.
of going through Colorado in an ATV or something. So,
there we go. Like I said, it is electric. So I don't know. The thing is, I haven't really used any of like the element stuff except for fire so far. So I think it shocks you and causes you. I mean, I used it with a tripwire way earlier in the game, but I think it just like it stuns you for a good amount of time. And now I've jumped out of the battle arena and have to find my way back.
I really remember going on
Whoops.
this cart path in Colorado. Sorry, it's just because I gotta say this. It was
Get your cart path story.
because the tour guide, like, he knew it was like this exciting path, and he's just like, kind of like at the part where you kind of do a big drop, not like dropping, but like a big incline and stuff. He's like, start saying like, oh yeah, our Father who art in heaven, and I'm like, I recognize it, of course, and he's like, oh yeah, you know what I'm talking about then. And like, it's just like, because it felt dangerous, but obviously he'd done that tour 1,000 times and there was no actual danger, and I don't know, that stuck with me.
Uh-oh.
The showmanship?
Yes. And it was just like this,
Why don't you bring praying to any one of our videos?
like this old guy who's just done 1,000 tours, and like this is just his day job. It's just like giving, tours.
Can't just like throw in a Lord's Prayer here or there while doing Horizon.
Yeah.
Not that religion exists anymore because Ted Faro deleted it.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure we're gonna.
Thanks, Ted Faro, by the way.
Yeah, by the way, yeah.
It's something that we really got to talk about here. Ted Faro destroyed anime.
Honestly, I think maybe you.
Well, maybe that's actually not the worst thing. But he did also destroy all my videos on YouTube.
But maybe this is something that we really haven't articulated properly. Is that first of all, Ted Faro destroyed anime, and that makes him terrible. Ted Terrible, more like.
Terrible, or maybe the greatest hero ever? I'm not entirely
He
sure.
definitely set humanity back or pushed it forward. It's hard to say, and
One of the two.
it really depends on how you feel about anime. But I think one of the things that's frustrating about this is like it's such a it's so it's so selective, or it's so non-selective. Like you're gonna just destroy all knowledge from before this event. Like it's whether or not the hubris of that is justified. It's like maybe it is, maybe it's not. But it's like maybe
I don't know. Look at the world that they live in.
yeah, maybe be a little bit more selective about that instead of just making it all or nothing. Like maybe you want us to reinvent, get back in touch with literature or something, or
Germ theory, for example.
yeah, exactly.
Like I was talking
give
about.
people germ theory so that they can survive, and then maybe you have them reinterpret literature, and things come back to them over time, but they're not allowed to get it all at once. They have to.
That was actually what Apollo was supposed to
Yeah,
do.
yeah, and see, for me, that feels like a much more, and it's like,
I mean, Poyo.
oh yeah, of course, sorry.
What are those leather straps?
It gives you all the chickens at once. But yeah, no, I feel like Apoyo was pretty responsibly designed, and I feel like just to reject it completely,
Yeah, I know. It's
without giving any alternative, it's just like, well,
I'm so hugely biased. I can't even talk.
yeah, no, and it's like I feel like there's a way to do that. Like, you know what? Maybe there's a more conservative version where, okay, instead of getting all of that knowledge back, maybe half of it randomly disappears to deal with and I mean that would be an incalculable loss, but it's not total, and it's it would simulate humanity not getting everything, certain things get lost in the translation, and we don't want them to be slaves to the old world kind of thing. Instead, it's sort of they get. Let's just have them start from 8,000 years ago. Let's just start from a primitive base point.
Yeah, the 2000 BC culture sort of
It's
thing.
because that's the best.
Versus mending.
Because everything before that, everything after that was a mistake. Well, how do you prevent them from making the same mistakes? It doesn't feel like that. That just doesn't seem like a credible alternative, if you will.
We gotta just blame Ted for that, then, I suppose.
But again,
It's very.
I'm blaming you for not doing the lore that would maybe give this more nuance, but still.
Ah, damn it, not again. I don't know. This entire thing just reminds me a lot of the start of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, where Arthur Dent trying to reflect on everything being lost of Earth that's where it's been destroyed.
Yeah.
Is just sort of nonplussed about the human cost and everything, but then he remembers that McDonald's is gone.
Yeah, it's funny because you think about for some reason I was also thinking about food. I'm like, what about bacon? I don't even mean pigs. I just mean bacon.
What really happened?
I want to.
Yeah, it's going to take some time for us to realize that, okay, not only pig belly, but then also, smoking it, and salting it, and all that sort of stuff.
And we don't just.
If we ever figure it out again. How long it took us to put together peanut butter and jelly?
Well, it took us till.
Those things existed for a very long time before that became a staple.
I believe it took us until 1984 before we discovered smoking.
This is Ursa's helmet.
Uh,
Right in the field below.
blame Ted Faro.
Yeah.
Here. All this trickery.
Jim Carrey.
Once again, he did delete all of my videos on YouTube. So thanks.
Well, honestly,
Thanks for that, jackass. He deleted the Persona series.
good riddance.
But it
Whatever. Fair enough.
It was a good experience to do them, but we're dead too. So we didn't get any. There's no benefit from that process.
I don't care. I want my legacy to last.
Oh, yeah.
Ursa and her men with a new
Not be deleted by some tech billionaire.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, fair enough.
fires
Like,
waves of
if
So I'm looking at you. I'm looking at you, Billy Gates.
Uh-huh.
stone there.
Don't do it.
or I guess in this case, I guess it would be like Larry Page and Eric Schmidt. Is that right? They're still Google.
God, he's like big robotics guy. I don't know. Or weapons. I guess they were weapons guys. I don't know.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Hard to
By the way, yeah, thanks a lot, Mr. Roboto.
Yeah, exactly. Domo, thanks a lot.
That's what all your Japanese stuff
Domo
is.
ariga, thanks.
Yeah.
Stupid. Well, anyway, we're still doing the murder mystery.
Yeah.
And like I said, that's gonna last the entire next episode too.
We finally found out. Oh, your sister's dead, I think.
No, you found out that she's not dead
Oh.
because forensics was deleted by Ted Faro.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. So now we're gonna be derived the whole mystery.
We lost the entirety of CSI and its spin-offs.
If it's really Ursa,
Fucking Ted Faro.
of
Yeah.
course I'm wrong.
And NCIS, which isn't
And also NCIS.
which isn't technically a spin-off. It's just in the same vein very much. It's actually a whole different show that it's based on.
Really? Oh yeah, right. I forgot that. No, NCIS was based on Wings.
I think it was the spin-off to Wings about like a specific unit.
Or Jag? No, it was Jag, right?
Yeah, no, I think you're right. Okay. I'm just gonna totally defer to you on this.
But, oh man.